My typical day begins at 7 a.m. with lots of coffee and very loud music. Once I find the right frequency, everything else just flows. I believe the art of candle making and the craft of making candles are two different things. My work on the production line requires skill, but I wouldn't call it an art. It's more of a labor-intensive and repetitive job. The production line is the place where I get to see my art come to life. The art is in the process of creating the blueprint of the candle, which is the recipe and the topper design. It can take up to 30 days to create a fragrance that does not exist. I think every artist needs an inspiring work atmosphere, and for me that place is the Candle Cabin. I designed this building in 2019, and my husband built it in 2020. The Candle Cabin is located in Cochise County, founded in 1881 and named after Chief Cochise. This is my collection of Wild West role models: Cochise, Geronimo, Doc Holliday, and Wyatt Earp. It was the town of Tombstone and its history that inspired our move to Cochise County. Tombstone is a mysterious town that holds many fond memories deep within my soul. The artwork on the cabinets was all done by hand, and it's still a work in progress. This project was inspired by the story of Geronimo. The railroad photos represent the history of Mescal, which was founded as a railroad town in the early 1900s. This is my biggest piece of inspiration, and it hangs above our production line. It's the place where most of my thoughts and ideas for this business originated, and also the place that motivated me to transform those thoughts into actions and transition my hobby into my profession. The woman in the photo is my mother-in-law. She passed away unexpectedly 6 months after this photo was taken. One of her biggest inspirations from this trip was to plant an herb garden, and she never had the opportunity to make that happen. So we'd like to keep her spirit alive around here by growing our own herbs, and right now we have rosemary, white sage, and lavender on site. These plants are a couple of years old, and I grew them all from a seed. Sedona Sunrise is our original Wild West candle. When I smell this candle, it takes me right back to that moment at Cathedral Rock with my mother-in-law when I felt so peaceful and calm. The fragrance played a big role in my healing during the grieving process. If I had to be specific on what the art of candle making is, I would define it as being able to bring someone out of a dark place, even if it's just for a few moments, without even speaking to them. Kind of like music, but without the sound. It's the art of scent healing, and it's the work that fulfills my soul. The Clearing Negative Energy candle is our #1 bestseller, and it was inspired by some of the most challenging smudging attempts that we have ever experienced. It's not just a fancy name, it's a tool that was formulated for a purpose, and it works very well according to the reviews. There are times when I receive special requests, not for smells, but for a specific psychological effect that a scent would produce. A task that requires creating something out of nothing, which fascinates me because I'm always looking for that next big challenge. Buck and Shoot was inspired by a special request from a customer who wanted a candle that would remind his spouse of the good times they have shared at the rodeo, and the recipe for this one took about 30 days. I consider my sense of smell to be not only a luxury but also a tool for survival. I live quite an adventurous life, and rattlesnakes don't always rattle in the desert, but they do produce a smell. The sense of smell is the first thing that we use to determine if it's safe to enter a mine. Rotting flesh produces a smell, which may indicate the presence of wild animals like mountain lions. Water also has a smell, which is one of the biggest signs it is not safe to enter. I've been making candles professionally for about 5 years, and I'm always looking for ways to learn and grow in my experience. This year, I decided it was time to kick things up a notch with a project that was inspired by my own scent cravings for Arizona wine. Now, I don't drink alcohol, but I do enjoy sucking down the blood of Christ. I know there are a lot of people out there who may get offended by that statement, but I believe if you are a healthy person, physically, mentally, and spiritually, who drinks wine responsibly, It can be very therapeutic and spiritually enlightening. Some healers prefer using psychedelic drugs to become more spiritually connected, and that's fine, but I prefer wine. It took about 2 months to complete the wine cellar project, and our launch date is on June 1st. I am really pleased with the results. I think that each of the candles smell like the wine in its most natural state, and I do like the smell. It's something that I would burn in my house. The only thing I don't like about them is I don't feel like it gives me that authentic Arizona wine scent that I'm looking for. There's a very distinctive smell to Arizona wines that I want in these candles, and I think the only way that I'm going to get that smell is to go find it. Right now, I'm not quite sure what it is that I'm looking for. There are 3 wine regions in the state of Arizona, and each region has its own scent and flavor. I am fascinated by the art of winemaking. I think the whole process from growing the grapes to pouring the glass has got to be one of the biggest artistic challenges that God has ever created. Maybe that's why they call it the blood of Christ. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in farming grapes, and your biggest threat is Mother Nature. I am an artist. My job is to create art, and in order to do that, I must first create an experience. I want to smell the wine, taste the wine, feel the wine, and experience everything the wine has to offer. Life is all about living the experience in the moment. It is those life experiences that inspire me to design the candles that I do create. And it is the skill that leads to the celebration of a finished product. I don't always know where my projects are going to take me, but I am an adventurist and a perfectionist. When I start a project, I give it all the energy I have. If it can be made, I'm going to find a way to make it. And if I don't like the product I have created, or if it's not what I think it should be, I don't produce it.